Cause if we make it or not, we got each other. And that's all I know. We'll give it a shot. Oh, hey, there. Oh, we are the best. Oh, hey, we are the best. Oh, we are the best.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great week so far. Bitcoin having a little bit of a sluggish day, down almost 1%. We are pushing on some very critical support. However, a lot of people speculating that maybe that was it for the big run for Bitcoin. We're seeing a lot of altcoins actually having some insane blast-off moves. Icon up 50% in the day. We have XRP up 6.73% right now. Now, there is some news that came out for XRP. We're going to get into that. Actually, you can see right now, we are actually having the breakout as I'm making this video for XRP. But that being said, guys, in all sincerity, if Bitcoin does fail to hold above this support, what does that mean for the altcoins? Does that mean that they're going to get dragged down? Or is it about time to sort of dabble in the altcoins and try to, maximize those profits for more Bitcoin gains? Well, I'm going to talk about that because, actually, before we get into it, I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you out there actually own one Bitcoin? Are you trying to own one Bitcoin? Do you own one Bitcoin you're not interested in owning anymore? Or are you simply not interested in Bitcoin at all? Drop a comment below. Actually, if you don't want to, kind of put your information out there, I'll put a poll above. Let me know what you're doing because I have some really mind-blowing statistics to go over later in this video that I think you're definitely going to want to stick around, especially if you are looking to be a long-term Bitcoin holder. That being said, we have lots of things to get into, including another Bitcoin financing app from the co-founder of Twitter. Yes, so we have another one coming out, just more adoption. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, well, we do this every single day. And of course, we give away a Ledger Nano S every Monday. We gave away 2 yesterday. Congratulations to the winners. Now let's dive in. Let's have a look. Is XRP, it looks like it's still pulling back a little bit, but let's have a look at what's going on. Giving this a quick refresh. Bitcoin dominance down 1 whole percent. Lots of people speculating that this could be the beginning of a massive altcoin rally. You can see right here, we do have, Icon had a little bit of a pullback. It was up 50% this morning. 33%, we have ELF, 20%, Hashgraph, 18%, Kick Token, Aeon, Stratus. So lots of big gainers in the altcoins today while Bitcoin's just sort of hanging around, right? That usually does tend to happen. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that we did have a nice bounce off of this pretty much previous resistance turn support. You can see right back here, Bitcoin was having a lot of difficulty breaking above this level. We came down here and we have had a nice bounce back off of this level. So the bulls are trying to defend these key levels, but the question is for how long? Keep in mind, we've been in very greedy territory for the past week. I mean, we saw 59 yesterday, okay? And I've gone over time and time again what this means for the market. Plus, we have had 49,922 Bitcoin moved by another anonymous whale over to, where did it go to? I believe it went to Bittrex. So yeah, the question is, what is this whale planning on doing with all of this money? Are they planning on dumping, or is it just money being transferred from exchange to exchange? Well, we can all have our opinions on it, but you can see that Bitcoin has once again respected the bottom. Actually, we dipped a little bit lower than the level of support, but currently we are still in the blue zone. We are above the 200 daily, which is sitting at around 8.8K, and I did say yesterday if Bitcoin was to have a pullback down to the 8.8K level, that would still be bullish in my opinion. It would just be a healthy cool-off for Bitcoin overall. Currently we are having the golden cross right now on the daily. This is the 50 and the 100. Obviously, the 100 and 200 would be better, right? But currently, this is what markets do, okay? We go up, we consolidate, we go up. It's sort of like this zigzag pattern, so we may come down, retest a level before heading back up again, right? This is very normal for healthy markets. However, there is a little bit of sort of negative, I guess you could say, negative signs on the lower time frames. Now, this is on the 4-hour chart, very low time frame. You can see we are having a little bit of bearish divergence on the RSI, and the MACD is actually in the red currently. Now, that is on the lower time frames, right? Switching to the higher time frames, we are noticing you could be optimistic about this, but you also could be a little bit cautious because we are sitting at the top of the resistance. Now, this resistance is really important because it was the top of the candle close back here during the all-time high for Bitcoin, and also the top of the candle close during last year's high. So those are 2 very important levels, and currently we are having a struggle to break out. Now, if we were to fall down, I'm just being hypothetical here, to the median line right here, that's about $6,400 for Bitcoin. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? I would say not so much so. Currently, I would not be that bearish on the overall price action. We are having Bitcoin dominance pull back, but the altcoins are still having difficulty breaking above the $86 billion level. So what this is telling me is that it's not all the altcoins. It's not a universal alt season. It's a select alt season, or it's just, select altcoins that are pumping, which tells me that maybe in 2020, it might be time to really look fundamentally into the altcoins that could have potential big moves rather than just, every altcoin pumping. Oh, by the way, guys, if you are an Ethereum holder, I'm going to be talking to Hishoshi. He's an Ethereum developer. If you have any questions you want me to ask him about like DeFi and the Ethereum upgrades and stuff like that, just drop that below. We're going to probably talk later this afternoon, and I'll probably try to get that video out by tomorrow. But speaking about something very interesting about the Bitcoin dominance, this is the Bitcoin dominance. You can see it has clearly pulled back, but it is holding strong around that 66% level. This is on TradingView, not on CoinMarketCap, but this is going to blow your mind. If you actually look at when this essentially this wedge is looking to close, it's actually looking to close around the last week of May, or the third week of May, actually. But what's interesting is we know that Bitcoin usually never gets to the end, right? It usually breaks out sooner, around 75, 80%. It's a little bit of an impatient asset. So what is this telling me? Well, considering the fact that the halving is probably going to end up happening sooner than we thought, due to the fact that we've just had amazing fundamentals for Bitcoin on chain, well, we could have an explosive move lining up exactly with the halving. Could be possible, guys. Let me know what you guys think about that moving forward. However, looking at what, just for example, Terry Duffy has said, he's the CEO of the CME Group. He was asked about his opinions on Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, also referring to just the interest in the Bitcoin futures, and this is essentially what he had to say.
Terry, how about Bitcoin having a great January, up almost 30%? What's with that? Is it a safe haven? And what are you seeing in futures?
You know what, Sarah, I think it is. I think, people are using Bitcoin a lot like they're using gold today, and I think it is a bit of a safe haven. We're seeing an uptick, as you referenced, in Bitcoin. It's sat at that level of 7,000 at Bitcoin for so long, and then you have an uptick to 9,000, 9,500 on the Bitcoin. We just listed options on Bitcoin a couple of weeks ago, starting to get a little bit of interest there, but we are seeing more and more people participate in Bitcoin, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's more of a safe haven, similar to a gold trade.
Somewhere to a gold trade, possibly a safe haven. So this is definitely showing me that the perception is shifting. Last year it wasn't seen this way about Bitcoin. People kind of laughed at it, but now they're like, actually, yeah, this really is gold 2.0, and it really is a good store of value. I mean, yeah, you could say, okay, I bought at 20K. All right, but I mean, that argument's getting a little old. How much time do we really spend above, even the 14K level? It wasn't that long, guys, compared to the history of Bitcoin. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. And if you're a Bitcoin holder, you're definitely going to want to stick around for at least this portion of the video. And this is again from our buddy Sylvain Sorel. He says the race to own one Bitcoin has begun. Now check this out, okay? Obviously, given the scarcity of Bitcoin, more people are finally starting to realize that owning one Bitcoin could make you extremely rich in the future. So, he says the race to own one Bitcoin is on. Obviously, when we're finally done mining all of them, there will be 21 million. Satoshi owns 1 million, right? And there's estimated to be between 3 and 4 million of them lost, okay? So essentially, the latest estimates published by the United Nations, check this out, indicates that the Earth's population is expected to reach 9.8 billion in 2050 and 11.2 billion in 2100. So taking this into consideration, at a maximum of 21 million Bitcoins for 11.2 people, assuming there is an equal distribution to everybody on Earth, that would mean that each inhabitant could own a maximum, and get this, of 0.001875 Bitcoin, or in other words, there will be a maximum of 1 Bitcoin available for 533 people. Now, that's obviously assuming that everyone on the planet ends up owning some Bitcoin by that day, right? So less than 1 million people own at least 1 Bitcoin currently. If you look at the Bitcoin rich list right here, you could see that there's about 631,000 that own between 1 and 10 Bitcoin. That number is very low. Even when you consider, how many millionaires millionaires there are. I don't even know what the number is today. What is it? 44 million millionaires, right? So even if each millionaire on planet Earth, no, there's more than that. Is that right? I don't know. Google it. But I think it's 44 million. But either way, the point is there's more than 21 million, and there's not enough for, each millionaire to own one Bitcoin. He says, nevertheless, it's quite conceivable that less than 1 million people own at least one Bitcoin on Earth. By making the decision to buy one full Bitcoin, you will de facto become part of the 2.18% of richest Bitcoin addresses. So essentially, if you own one Bitcoin right now, you're in the 2.18%. I mean, try getting in the 1% of the world right now. It's probably not going to happen, right? He goes into some charts. I will drop this below if you guys are interested, but essentially they say the year 2020 is therefore probably the last year for the average person to buy an entire Bitcoin. Let's be honest. If we have some of these highs that they're calling for, even if we get to 20,000, I mean, how many average people have $20,000 on them? It's probably not going to ever be possible to own one Bitcoin again, right? They say a more reasonable target moving forward is probably going to end up being the 0.1%. Now, I'm not going to give financial advice, obviously, and you know how I feel about this, but for everyone out there that doesn't have one Bitcoin, and if you're watching this channel right now, I understand, you have Icon 5Xing, right? Great. Did you get in on that? Did you get in on the trade? Okay. You're not going to be able to get in on all these different altcoin pumps, right? But we know where Bitcoin is going, and thinking about being in the top 2% of the world potentially, I would really try to get at least one Bitcoin, tuck it away, put it on some cold storage, forget about it. And then you know what? If you want to go gamble on the altcoins, have fun. But try to put that one Bitcoin away and just secure it for safe storage in case it does potentially become the world's global reserve, right? You can see with the current distribution of Bitcoin, owning 0.1% would put you among the 2 million richest addresses in the network, i.e. the richest 7%. So just think about that moving forward. And also when you consider hyper-Bitcoinization, the fact that we constantly have all this hyperinflation of all these different fiat currencies, the idea of one Bitcoin hitting 1 million, 5 million, or even 10 million seems silly now. But consider what you could purchase with the dollar back in the day versus now. Like, what could your grandfather and grandmother purchase with, $5 versus what can we purchase with $5, right? So there's a lot more factors than just simply looking at, the price of Bitcoin on the chart right now. Just keep that in mind. And one other thing I wanted to also point out is the concept of not even just what Bitcoin is going to do financially as far as, basically gobbling up all fiat. But if you guys have ever heard of a Veblen good, it's a good in which the demand increases as the price increases because of its exclusive nature and appeal as a status symbol. So who knows? Maybe one day people are going to flex on their one Bitcoin, right? You see all these, rappers and stuff with these, diamond chains and stuff, right? Well, why are they doing that? What is the significance? I mean, you can see right down here, examples of Veblen goods include expensive Swiss watches, designer handbags, certain wines, jewelry, luxury cars. Now, these are, okay, you can argue, they're limited, but they're limited only due to production. It's not like they can't make more watches, right? They can make more handbags. I mean, you can even make diamonds, right? You can make diamonds. They make them. They pressurize carbon. And I know there's a whole bunch of people that disagree that, well, those aren't the real diamonds. Whatever your opinion is. But my point being, it could happen. It could happen. I mean, it could just become a status symbol one day, So those are just all possibilities. But I wanted to point that out. And that's why I wanted to ask you, do you own at least one Bitcoin? Is that a goal of yours? Not financial advice, but, I would make it a goal of mine. But also moving on to the fact that XRP is pumping. Actually, let's see how it's doing right now. All right, it's kind of chilling around the 0.2681 level. So essentially, we had Arthur Hayes. You guys know he's the CEO of BitMEX. He says, is it called Ripple, XRP, or Dogsh? Who knows? Who cares? It's worth more than zero, so it's time to trade the USD pair on BitMEX Booyakasha. So obviously having a look at the XRP chart currently, XRP is down from the top to the bottom, where we are right now, 92%. So, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're gonna open up these Bitcoin leverage trading pairs on BitMEX. So what are they going to do? Are they going to short it? I mean, you could short it, but I would think they're going to probably try to pump it. So, I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm not telling you to get into XRP. I'm not in it right now currently. I could miss out on the trade of the century. That's okay. that's okay by me. But if you're in it, congratulations. But, you know, I would assume that maybe they're going to have a little bit of pump. There might be some manipulation. Please be careful if you are trading XRP currently. But that being said, back to the meat and potatoes of the video. Mode, MODE, which is a financial services firm backed by Twitter co-founder Biz Stone, has rolled out its Bitcoin banking app on iOS devices. So the British company made its app available globally, with the exception of, you guessed it, good old US of A. Not surprised, not surprised. Anyway, customers can now start using the app with as much as $65 and buy Bitcoin with bank cards or through bank transfer. The funds are further processed through digital asset custodian BitGo. Why is this so exciting? Well, the app allows users to credit funds almost instantly, which is cool, right? By means of a faster payment processor. Now, of course, they are doing this within the app, okay? We're not doing this on chain, but the mode addresses transaction restriction issues. A lot of people want their funds quick, right? Sometimes it's a little slow to settle things on the network. So transaction restriction issues, low speed, high cost, lack of security, and most importantly, the poor user experience, right? We need better apps. We need apps that are more user friendly. Lots of people don't like these apps, right? You know, I've heard people even complain about the interface of apps we use every day, right? Like the Ledger interface or something like that, which, I mean, I have no issue with, but, you know, it's still complicated and has a steep learning curve for some new people in crypto. And I think the more that we see, you know, guys like this, the co-founder of Twitter, or even Jack, right, the CEO of Twitter, what they're doing with the Lightning Network, these are things that we need to get done, you know? I can't do it. I'm just a guy on the internet, but these guys that have the resources, they have the money, they have the ambition, and they have the reach, they're going to be the ones that are going to help push this into the mass and make it a lot easier for, you know, essentially people to be able to get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies moving forward, allowing for that hyper-Bitcoinization that we all believe is going to eventually happen anyway. Oh yeah, and finally, we have U.S. Marshal Service is auctioning nearly $40 million in Bitcoin, the first auction since the end of 2018. Really, nothing else to say about that. It was just in the news. I thought I'd bring it to you, but I do like to see blockchain adoption, and I do believe that supply chain logistics is a great use case for, you know, blockchain, along with voting, even though we've kind of really not seen that take off. I think that's for more shady reasons, though, why they won't adopt it. I mean, why would they want to be able to prove the votes, right? They wouldn't be able to call out Florida for that crazy last-minute vote, right? But Hungarian fruit syrup producer, I believe their name is Poleski, implemented TE Foods to track and trace the sourcing and production of their fruit syrup. So they process more than 2,400 tons of fruit in 33 different products and sell it in Hungary, as well as exports to 4 neighboring countries. As a pilot, the company is implementing the blockchain-based traceability solution for its strawberry and raspberry syrup products. And on that note, I think this is where we end the video. Just curious what's going on with XRP. Yeah, I mean, XRP could have a nice pump, guys. I mean, yeah, let me know. Are you in on this? I don't know what's going on. Let's actually check on Bitcoin, though. What's Bitcoin doing? Just hanging out, being boring old Bitcoin right now? I mean, it's trying to have a little bit of recovery, but the longer that Bitcoin stays in sort of this sideways consolidation, whatever you want to call it, pattern, the more you are going to have these crazy altcoin pumps. This is what happens. I mean, people get bored. You know, crypto, it moves at the speed of light, and people want to make money every single day, no matter what. And yeah, so that's just crypto. But thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. If you haven't got subscribed yet, well, definitely consider clicking that button, you know, hitting the bell notification if you want to get these updates in a fast and speedy way. And that's it for me, guys. Thanks again for coming back to the channel. Your company is always appreciated. If you're looking to join a bunch of like-minded individuals who love to talk about crypto every single day, I do have a free Telegram group. The link is below. That's it for me today. Thank you so much again. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.